In an unforeseen turn of events on the sixth day of the Diddy trial, the courtroom was left reeling as Monique, the celebrated actress and comedian, delivered a testimony that shook the foundations of Hollywood. What began as a routine day with reporters buzzing about potential revelations quickly transformed into a historic moment when Monique stepped forward, unearthing long-buried secrets about Diddy, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Bishop T.D. Jakes. From the moment she took the stand, the atmosphere shifted. Monique, known for her candid criticism of the entertainment industry, came armed not just with words, but with detailed timelines, recorded conversations, and undeniable evidence. Under oath, she finally had the platform to voice the warnings she'd been sounding for years, warnings that were once dismissed as mere grudges. Her testimony reframed the entire trial, expanding its scope far beyond Diddy alone. The courtroom was already brimming with anticipation before proceedings began. Journalists crowded the halls, hungry for the next big headline. Yet no one could have predicted Monique's arrival through a discreet side entrance, exuding a quiet but resolute confidence. Diddy's legal team exchanged uneasy looks, while prosecutors seemed to brace themselves with renewed focus. Diddy himself, clad in a sharp charcoal suit, appeared visibly unsettled, leaning toward his attorney with whispered urgency as sketch artists captured the tension in his expression, a fleeting crack in his otherwise composed demeanor. Monique's voice rang clear and unwavering from her first statement. "I'm here to tell the truth, and I will not hold back." For years, she had spoken out about being sidelined by powerful figures like Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Lee Daniels, only to be labeled as bitter or dramatic. Now, in a federal courtroom, those same accusations carried undeniable weight. With the judge's approval, she presented a meticulously prepared timeline, detailing her interactions with the key players in this trial. Dates of meetings, calls, broken commitments, and shady backroom deals masked as opportunities. Prosecutors listened intently, cross-referencing her words with prior statements from Cassie Ventura, as the case suddenly grew larger than one man. Her testimony took a sharp turn when she targeted Tyler Perry directly. Recounting a 2018 phone call, Monique revealed that Perry had privately admitted to her wrongful blackballing from Hollywood, promising a public apology that never came. "He told me he was wrong," she declared, "but he said a public statement would expose others who weren't ready to face scrutiny." When pressed on who he meant, Monique stared at the jury and stated plainly, "Puff. That's who he meant. Puff Diddy, whatever name you know him by." The courtroom erupted in hushed shock as even the prosecution exchanged stunned glances. This wasn't mere gossip. It hinted at a broader conspiracy within the industry. She didn't stop there. Monique introduced a transcript of a recorded call with Perry, in which he allegedly cautioned, "There are things happening I can't be tied to publicly. We've all seen things at Puff's parties we're not supposed to mention." Though the judge withheld the audio pending verification, the transcript was admitted as evidence, painting a damning picture of Hollywood elites who may have turned a blind eye to Diddy's actions to safeguard their own reputation. Diddy's defense objected, calling her claims speculative, but the prosecution countered that her words provided critical insight into how silence and image control shielded Diddy for decades, potentially enabling misconduct. Then came a revelation that dominated headlines within hours. Monique paused, adjusted her microphone, and shared a chilling memory. "I attended one of Diddy's parties in 2006, and I left when I saw something I wasn't meant to see." She described arriving at a lavish Hollywood Hills estate after an invitation from a fellow actor promised elite networking. Upon entry, her phone was confiscated by valet staff, and she was guided into a dimly lit space filled with candles and soft R&B music. Guests, both men and women, were directed to private back rooms. "I saw a woman in heels," a man in just a bathrobe, she recalled. One of Diddy's assistants told me, "It's all about the experience here. You're safe if you sign the NDA." That's when I walked away. Refusing to sign, Monique never returned to such an event. But the consequences lingered. Offers for major roles dwindled, film festival invitations vanished, and whispers of her being difficult spread. She suspected her departure that night marked her as a threat. When asked if she believed such practices were routine at Diddy's gatherings, she nodded gravely. It felt like a calculated system. When I didn't comply, I was sidelined. Her account echoed testimonies from Cassie Ventura and others, descriptions of candlelit rooms, hidden cameras, and orchestrated experiences veiled as professional opportunities in luxury settings. As an established actress, not a vulnerable newcomer, Monique's perspective carried unique weight. She entered that party on her own terms and left with her career crumbling in her wake. When questioned about Tyler Perry's role in protecting Diddy's reputation, she answered without hesitation, "Yes, I believe it was deliberate, coordinated, part of a wider effort to keep things hushed." She referenced a widely seen social media moment, Tyler Perry's public $1 million donation to Bishop T.D. Jakes' megachurch. "People called it generosity," she said. "I saw it as a transaction, damage control. The church becomes a shield, and figures like Diddy use it to forge alliances that make them seem untouchable." Murmurs filled the courtroom as even the judge took notice of the jury's fervent note-taking. Monique claimed that around the time of Perry's donation, rumors about Diddy's parties mysteriously faded from gossip sites. "I knew then that money was changing hands, influence was being bought, silence was being secured. That million wasn't just for Jakes. It was for peace, for quiet." Prosecutors displayed photos of Perry and Diddy together at a BET event shortly after, their camaraderie stark against the backdrop of mounting allegations, bolstering Monique's assertion that the industry didn't just shield Diddy, it celebrated him. Looking directly at the judge, she declared, "I'm no longer afraid of being blackballed. I've endured it. Silence is the heaviest price we pay, and we've all paid it." She produced a printed transcript of a call with Tyler Perry, where he allegedly admitted fault for her treatment post-Precious. "I recorded it with his knowledge," she said, passing the document to the bailiff. In it, Perry reportedly confesses, "I know I messed up. You weren't difficult. You just didn't want to work for free. I should have said that publicly." But he adds, "I can't go public. Puff's name is tied up in too much right now." Monique emphasized Perry's fear of the domino effect. If Diddy fell, many others would follow, including those funding films and signing checks. The judge admitted the transcript into evidence, a significant victory for the prosecution, as Diddy's legal team visibly faltered. What was once a private conversation had become federal testimony. Then Monique dropped another bombshell. Oprah Winfrey. She recounted a deeply personal betrayal from 2010, when she confided in Oprah about childhood abuse by her brother, only for Oprah to feature him on her show after Monique declined the Precious Press tour. "She said she'd never exploit my pain. But she did," Monique testified. "It was business," she claimed, "but I knew it was to silence me." She linked Oprah, Perry, and Diddy through shared PR teams, NDAs, and crisis management, even presenting a redacted email mistakenly sent to her, listing her name alongside Diddy's and Perry's in a discussion about managing optics. Her testimony painted a vivid image of a coordinated silence machine designed to crush dissenters. As she concluded, Monique remained composed, her voice steady. After a brief recess, she returned with a startling statement. "Now, let's discuss the list." The room fell silent. She described an unwritten but well-known Hollywood roster of untouchables. Figures like Diddy, Perry, and Oprah, whom one couldn't criticize without being branded difficult or dangerous. Crossing that invisible line in 2010, Monique found herself ostracized, fighting to reclaim her place ever since. She raised haunting questions about peers who vanished from the spotlight after working with these giants. Some didn't play along, some said no, some saw things they weren't supposed to, she said softly. The court allowed her to read a statement from an anonymous former actor about a retreat hosted by a powerful filmmaker involving confiscated phones, signed contracts, and unsettling rituals. While she didn't name Perry explicitly, the implication lingered. Her message was clear. The industry protected secrets, not art, and the cost of truth was steep. Your career, your reputation, your peace. When asked if Diddy contributed to her career's sabotage, Monique affirmed, "Yes, eventually. I didn't see the full extent until later." She cited a call from a Revolt TV executive warning her, "You've upset the wrong people. It's not just Tyler and Oprah. Puff doesn't like noise either." Emails presented by the prosecution revealed coordinated PR efforts between Revolt and Tyler Perry Studios to shape narratives around both Monique and Cassie Ventura, a direct digital connection that struck the court profoundly. Her words cut deep. "I wasn't just blackballed. I was whiteballed by black people. People who looked like me, who feared losing their place more than doing right." Exhausted but resolute, she explained her initial reluctance to testify, only agreeing after witnessing Cassie's emotional testimony and Diddy's courtroom behavior. "I heard my grandmother's voice telling me not to let them write my story without me there," she shared. In her final moments on the stand, she addressed the core of the silence. Fear. Everyone's afraid. Of losing jobs, deals, relevance. People like Puff, Tyler, and Oprah have made truth too costly. Turning to Diddy, she whispered, "You thought no one would speak, that your empire could silence us all. Now you're the one sitting in silence. Listen to us." As she stepped down, reporters noted Diddy's shaken demeanor, his hands trembling, while the courtroom's energy surged. Monique, blackballed for over a decade, had just become the trial's most impactful voice. Locking eyes with the defense, she uttered a name absent from prior days' discussions. "Tyler Perry. Want to discuss power and silence? Ask Mr. Perry why I was blackballed for refusing to work for free, and see who stood by him at every turn." Though Perry wasn't on trial, her quiet accusation reverberated. It wasn't about legal guilt, but cultural complicity, the system of protection. "He never helped me, but he ensured others wouldn't either," she claimed, referencing call logs and audio of Perry's private apology, where he admitted fault but refused public acknowledgement, fearing ruin. "I'm done shielding men who never shielded me," she stated, her words striking harder than any evidence presented. This trial was no longer just about Diddy. It was about Hollywood's entire power structure, and Monique had pointed the finger at it all. The echoes of Monique's testimony on the sixth day of the Diddy trial reverberated far beyond the courtroom walls, sending shockwaves through Hollywood and igniting a firestorm of public discourse. Her unflinching account, which implicated not just Diddy, but also industry titans like Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey, transformed the trial from a singular focus on one man's alleged misdeeds into a searing indictment of an entire system of silence and complicity. As the gavel fell to adjourn the session, the energy in the room was palpable. A mix of awe, unease, and anticipation for what might come next. Courtroom observers noted an immediate shift in demeanor among Diddy's defense team. Once confident and dismissive of prior testimonies, they now appeared rattled, huddling with their client in urgent whispers as Monique exited the stand. Diddy, whose composed facade had held through days of damning accusations, seemed visibly shaken. his hands gripping the table as if to steady himself. Sketch artists captured a rare glimpse of vulnerability. A man whose empire, once thought untouchable, was now under siege from a voice he likely never anticipated. Outside the courthouse, journalists scrambled to file their reports, their headlines screaming variations of "Monique exposes Hollywood's dark underbelly" and "Diddy trial takes explosive turn with Tyler Perry, Oprah allegations." Social media platforms erupted with reactions, as hashtags like "Monique speaks" and "Hollywood silence" trended worldwide within hours. Fans and critics alike dissected her words, with many praising her courage to confront giants of the industry under oath. "She's been saying this for years, and we didn't listen," one viral tweet read. "Now it's in a federal court. Who's laughing at Monique now?" Yet, not all responses were supportive. Some industry insiders, speaking anonymously to entertainment outlets, questioned her motives, suggesting her testimony was a bid for relevance rather than truth. "She's been out of the spotlight for too long," one producer remarked. "This feels like a calculated move to settle old scores." Such criticisms, however, were quickly drowned out by a growing chorus of voices, former actors, writers, and crew members, who began sharing their own stories of being sidelined or silenced after crossing Hollywood's invisible list of untouchables that Monique described. The implications of her testimony extended to the other figures she named. Tyler Perry, a beloved figure for many due to his rags-to-riches story and contributions to black cinema, faced an unprecedented wave of scrutiny. Online forums buzzed with re-examinations of his past actions, including his $1 million donation to Bishop T.D. Jakes' megachurch, which Monique had framed as potential damage control. While Perry issued no immediate public statement, sources close to him hinted at a forthcoming response, with one insider telling a major outlet, "Tyler is deeply troubled by these allegations and plans to address them in due time." Oprah Winfrey, another cultural icon, also found herself in the crosshairs. Monique's claim of personal betrayal, alleging that Oprah exploited her childhood trauma for ratings, struck a raw nerve with the public. Clips from the 2010 episode featuring Monique's brother resurfaced, prompting heated debates about ethics in media. Oprah's team released a brief statement via a spokesperson. Ms. Winfrey respects the legal process and will not comment on ongoing proceedings. She remains committed to her legacy of empowering others. The response, while measured, did little to quell the growing questions about her role in the alleged silence machine. Inside the courtroom, prosecutors appeared emboldened by Monique's testimony, which provided a broader context for their case against Diddy. Legal analysts speculated that her statements, particularly the admissible transcript of her call with Tyler Perry and the redacted email chain involving PR strategies, could open new avenues of investigation. "This isn't just about Diddy's actions anymore," noted one prominent attorney on a cable news panel. "Monique has introduced evidence of a potential network of protection. If verified, this could lead to subpoenas for other industry figures or even parallel inquiries." Diddy's defense, meanwhile, scrambled to mitigate the damage. In a post-session press briefing, lead attorney Anthony Hargrove dismissed Monique's testimony as emotionally charged but lacking substantive proof. He argued that her claims were largely anecdotal and unrelated to the specific charges against his client, urging the jury to focus on hard evidence rather than Hollywood gossip. Yet, legal experts countered that the prosecution's successful argument to include her testimony as contextual evidence, showing how silence and reputation management may have enabled Diddy's alleged behavior, could sway jurors' perceptions significantly. As the trial prepared to resume on day 7, speculation mounted about whether Monique's testimony would prompt other witnesses to come forward. Names of former associates, actors, and industry insiders who had previously worked with Diddy, Perry, or Winfrey began circulating in media reports, with some hinting at their own experiences mirroring Monique's. One anonymous source, claiming to have attended a Diddy-hosted event in the early 2000s, told a tabloid, "What she said about the parties, the NDAs, the pressure to stay quiet, it's all true. I signed one. I regret it every day." For Monique herself, the aftermath was a complex mix of vindication and vulnerability. In a brief statement released through her publicist, she expressed gratitude for the support while acknowledging the personal toll of reliving her trauma on the stand. "I didn't do this for fame or revenge," she said. "I did it for every person who's been told to shut up, to smile, to play along. If my voice helps even one of them, it's worth it." Friends and family close to her revealed that she had received an outpouring of messages from peers in the industry, some offering solidarity, others sharing their own silenced stories. The cultural impact of her words continued to unfold. Prominent activists and scholars began framing her testimony as a pivotal moment in the ongoing reckoning with power dynamics in entertainment. Monique has exposed the intersection of race, gender, and power in Hollywood, wrote a cultural critic in a widely shared op-ed. Her blackballing wasn't just personal, it was systemic, a warning to others who dare to defy the status quo. This trial could be the crack that brings the whole facade down. As the legal proceedings move forward, the shadow of Monique's testimony looms large. Will more evidence emerge to corroborate her claims of industry-wide collusion? Could figures like Tyler Perry or Oprah Winfrey be called to testify or face separate scrutiny? And most crucially, will her words shift the jury's perspective, turning a case about one man's actions into a broader condemnation of a culture that enabled him? For now, one thing is certain. Monique, once dismissed as a bitter outlier, has reclaimed her narrative in a federal courtroom, forcing Hollywood to confront the cost of its silence and the power of a voice that refuses to be muted.